just going to bring the legs out in front. If you've got cushions like me, just adjusting your cushions so that you can feel the sitting bones on the floor. And then just relaxing the legs. So we're just going to have that feeling of letting go. Breathing in, we're going to reach up. So we're leaving the legs behind as if they weigh, as if they're made of lead and they weigh loads, and we just don't want to bring them to the ceiling with us. But as you breathe in, feel that slight push into that invisible hand here at the front. And as you breathe out, a slight movement into the back that we were doing earlier, breathing in and out. Lovely. And then we're going to take one breath in, reaching with that breastbone slightly forwards and coming forwards to just see how far we can reach. Doesn't really matter. And you can bend your knees if you're really struggling to stay in this position. And then here, having found a stretch that we can do, that's not overwhelming, feels good. We're going to come back to this S to C, I call it, breathing into the breastbone, this somatic move, breathing out, letting go. And just think this is like an echo of the movement that we did before. It's sort of there. You are moving, but it's happening naturally. And the legs are becoming heavier and letting go into the ground. And as you breathe in, there's that little sense of reaching that we've just had. That breastbone coming forwards as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, relax your jaw and your head. If you can, feel your feet and your hands and let go of the throat and the jaw joint as well. And then we're just going to cross the hands over. Now, it doesn't matter how far you can reach. If you're touching your knees or your shins, it's fine, okay, for this move. It's just a little bit more tricky to understand it more than anything. But what we're going to do is this lower arm is going to drop down, and we're going to use this as an anchor or a push for our little twist. And then we're going to try and look under this arm. So here we have a forward bend with a little bit of that S to C thing going on. But at the same time, we've got this ringing feeling, this ringing out feeling in the spine. Relax the legs back down, put them down. We tend to lift them off the floor here, let them relax. Let the breath do the work. And of course you can stay for as long as you like, but you know what comes next. All we're going to do is swap the arms over. So we're bringing the arm underneath to the top and dropping the other elbow and going the other way. And just seeing how you feel, how long you want to do that. If there's any tightness anywhere, see if you can bring in your knowledge from last week, that letting go of the legs, that lovely warm feeling in the chest. And then it's quite nice after that just to go back to a forward fold for a moment. And again, just tune into what has changed. So for this next move, it's just preparation actually for a really nice stretch that I really like quite a lot. So we're going to bring one hand to the side. I'm just going to do a sideward bend. So from, I have to come at a little angle so that you can see that it's actually sideways. So relax your legs. If you were here last week, remember we did that tick-tock. It's really nice here just to have that little moment just to tick-tock and remind the body, okay, we're letting the legs go. We don't need to bring them with us. We're reaching upwards with this hand, as if somebody's pulling on the wrist. And we're just bending slightly sideways and breathing into this rib cage here. As if you're filling a big balloon in the rib cage, and that balloon is then filling all the way up into the shoulder joint. And perhaps you're thinking about that spleen rock. Spleen's getting a nice little stretch here. And as you come out, reach up just slightly, just to make it nice and safe. And then we do the other side the same. So all the time, I'm just inviting you to change position. You might not be ready. You might want to do more stretching in that particular pose, and that's okay. Especially on Zoom, I can't really see you all that well. There's tiny little people on the screen very far away. So just see how that feels. Lovely. And then we're going to come into the true pose that I want to do, with the legs out wide. Now, how wide you bring your legs doesn't really matter. You just want to feel a little bit of a stretch here in the inner thighs. And I find it's quite nice actually to rub them and warm them up. And in the privacy of your own home, this doesn't look quite so weird as it does when I do it in yoga class. But it's good. It really works bringing that heat in. And just relax the legs, put them back down, because our immediate reflex when we stretch strongly like this is to go, oh, and bring them in. So let them go. Let them feel like lead dropping into the ground and the body rising. And then first off, we're going to do another sideward bend. So we're just going to bring the hand and slide it down the leg as far as it will go. You can reach your feet. It's quite nice to grab hold of the big toe. And then we're going to bring this arm back like we did before to that stretch as if somebody was pulling on the wrist. And then all we're going to do is bend the elbow down towards the leg and just see how far it will go. You might be able to bring it all the way onto the leg or even onto the floor, but don't let it then make you come forward. You're still trying to keep the legs on the floor, like lead, nice and heavy, and as you breathe in, you're creating that space in the rib and the shoulder. And if you're struggling a little bit, check in with your jaw. Relax it, your throat, feel your feet and your hands, make your body feel safe. And then again, when you want to come out, all you can do is lift that arm up so it aids you in your release. And you might find that you're a little bit lopsided. And of course, as you know, what comes next, you can slide down, try not to catch light on my hair. Bring the arm up. So we've got that leg nice and heavy. Think about sinking that hip down as you reach up with the arm, breathing into the rib cage. And then bending that elbow, little bit at a time, maybe leaning on the leg or on the floor, breathing, creating space. Now, if you wish to, you probably found that your inner thighs have warmed up a little bit and that you can have a little bit more of a stretch by moving your legs, or you might not want to at all. You might be well happy that they are as they are. Because we're going to do another little stretch here, which now brings in a little bit of a twist. So this time we're going to turn to face one leg. So here's the twist. And it's quite nice to spend a moment here, letting the legs go back down. You'll see that you've lifted them up. So let them come down. And if you're really struggling to let them come down, you know, it's always, you could always put a rolled up blanket or something underneath each of the legs so they can just truly just relax. Facing that foot, with this hand, we're going to slide down. Still facing though, still facing that foot. You're still looking at it, sliding down. We're going to use this arm to keep us facing that foot as we bring the arm over. So now we've got a sideward bend and a twist happening at the same time. And whenever the body has got a lot going on, its tendency is to start feeling a little bit insecure and unsafe. So bring your attention back to your feet and your hands and your jaw. Remember that warm feeling in the chest where that tightness is at the moment where you're trying to release. Slip that photograph out of your memory bank and remind yourself how your body felt. And of course, bending the elbow, for those of you that want to work a little bit harder, you can bend the elbow. And for some of us, we can reach all the way to the toe, but it's not necessary. You just stay where your stretch feels comfortable. You are working. You can feel it. Good. And you know what's happening next. So again, we're going to turn to face the other leg. So we've got that twist, first of all, coming up. We're letting go of the legs. If you want to stretch your inner thighs a little bit more, you can bring the legs a little bit wider still. Getting that twist, that feeling of letting the legs go, that lift up the spine, and then sliding that hand down, keeping yourself facing that foot. So you're using this hand to keep yourself in position. Then you bring the arm up and over. You've got the sideward stretch, you're letting go, letting those legs go. Bending the elbow, if you wish. And if it's beginning to feel a little bit difficult, keep bringing your attention back to the feet and the hands and the face, to letting the legs feel like lead, to feeling that openness or warmth in the breastbone. Lovely, and then we can bring the legs back in after that. That's the last of the sitting poses for now. So you could just do a straightforward forward bend here, or a forward bend with the legs wide. It's up to you. I quite like to come back to this pose nice and regularly, actually, and to notice the changes that have occurred due to the stretching that I've done. So you could just try and see, like, oh, so I've done all of that, and how has that affected my body? Good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come to lie on our mats, facing down. So hopefully you'll be able to see. We're going to do what's called the bottom roll. So if you're not sure, come and just approach the screen so that you can see. I'll even expose my lovely legging so you can see I'm doing this lovely bottom roll, side to side. And as before, it's not a big movement where I'm chucking my bum around. It's a really small, gentle. In fact, the more effortless it is, the better. So just feel into it. Feel the rhythm that's emerging as you work. Again, the mind will wander, we'll just bring it back to the rhythm. See if we can get it to feel nice and soft and smooth and effortless. Getting the buttocks to relax so that most of the effort is in the lower back. And again, this is one of those ones that 2 minutes. Unless, of course, you start to feel the need to stop. The head is resting on the hands. And just check that your shoulders aren't trying to make this move happen. Sometimes it helps me to lift my elbows off the floor just for a moment, just to check. Okay, no, elbows are not doing the work. When you put them back down, you can sometimes, if you have been using your elbows, you notice the difference. And of course, when you're ready, we're going to bring that to a gentle, still point. Noticing any changes in your breath, in your body, as the legs begin to relax a little. Let go. Incidentally, this is a really good one to do if you're in bed and you're finding it difficult to sleep. This little bottom roll is excellent for getting your drift off. And just feeling that weight, those legs feeling like lead, we're going to bring the hands around beneath the shoulders for a cobra. But before we come up into cobra itself, we just want to work out this, where that invisible hand is now that you had at the beginning, where you were pushing into the breastbone. So the legs remain relaxed. Your hands are helping you to push that breastbone into the floor. You can keep the head on the floor as you do this. I'm just looking up because I need to talk. And that's exactly what you want to be doing when you are coming up. So you're going to breathe in, come up into your cobra, relax your legs, push into the hands, looking up, breathe in and let that breastbone travel forwards. And as you breathe out, bring that down. So again, that warm feeling in the chest, that memory of pushing that breastbone forwards and back, coming up again, breathing in, legs relaxed, pushing with the hands, getting that breastbone forward, head back, and breathing out. You don't have to stay for very long. You don't have to do very many. If your shoulders or neck aches, you can always do this in Sphinx as well. So you've got the elbows on the floor, hands. I sometimes find that Sphinx is slightly better for releasing this breastbone. Legs are relaxed. You're going to pull the mat towards you as you breathe in, and you get that same motion. And in fact, if you tap the chin in, you can push on the elbows and feel that hand on your back that you're pushing into, and you get this. You can do a few sort of forwards and backs to remind yourself before you do your full Sphinx pose. And then as you come down, just come back to lying on your hands for a moment. Do a couple of little bum wiggles. Just remind the back to let go. And take a breath. So now you can choose your hand position. It can be either Sphinx or hands on the floor in Cobra, but all we're going to change here is that we're going to bend up the knees and point the feet up towards the ceiling. And already, as soon as you started doing that, you can feel that your pubic bone is starting to lift off the ground, and we need to remind the legs to be soft and to let go and to feel like lead, and the spine to just move gently away from it. So if you're in Sphinx, you're pulling the mat towards you, looking up. If you want to work a bit harder, you've got the hands on the floor, you're doing it in Cobra. And it's quite a strong stretch for the spine, but if you're relaxing your legs and you're breathing and you're feeling into it, you don't have to work too hard. But after all, either of those, the first thing we're going to do is come back into a lovely child pose. And this is a powerful child where I want you to bring the hands a little bit further away from you. And keep the hands there so that as you sink back, it's almost like you're trying to bring the mat with you. And that's creating a lovely stretch in the shoulders, the upper back and the neck. And then it comes, as you sit further and further back down, it works its way down the spine. And again, it's almost as if somebody's got hold of your wrists and is just gently holding you there so that you can hang. And it's going to be a nice long breath there, because one of the things that we've just done is really squeeze our adrenal glands. And in the child pose, they're now having a lovely stretch and a flush. And those extra breaths just allow the body to really let go and to reset into that rest and digest mode. And it feels right to be there for a little while. I'm sure you feel that too. So just stay with it. And whilst we are having a little check-in moment here, which I quite like to do in my classes, just to make sure everybody's okay. And I know you're all muted, so you're going to have to sort of do me a thumbs up, but I'm feeling that we need to do a little bit of neck next. Because the spine is feeling quite nice, maybe the lower back, especially if you were here last week. And yet the neck is still complaining a little bit. So if you think that's a really good idea, then thumbs up. If you think it's a bad idea, then thumbs down. But I can't see your thumbs. Let me come a bit closer. All right, mostly thumbs up. Good. Okay. So I'm going to repeat one of the moves that we did last week, mainly because this is not an easy one to get first time actually, and it gets better the more times you do it. So just find a comfortable way to sit for a moment. You can see I've just sat on my sheepskin, just have a little bit of height, because it takes a little moment. So this is the circle and the square. Circle is the circumference of the head here. We've got 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the square. And then a pencil right in the center of our circle, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to point that pencil to corner 1 and then center. Point it to corner 2 and then center. Point it to corner 3, center. Point it to corner 4 and center. And then we're going to turn the chin and point it to corner 1 and center. So don't think about this as a stretch, it's more a movement. Turn the chin, corner 2. So you're not necessarily looking for a stretch. There might be one, but you're not looking for it. Center. Turn the chin, corner 3, center. Turn the chin, corner 4 and center. And just have a moment there just to feel what's going on at that joint between the neck, the throat, the jaw joint. Lovely. So we're going to do that a couple more times. A little bit faster this time, so hopefully you all know it. So 1, center. 2, center. 3, center. 4, center. Turn the chin. 1, center. Turn the chin. 2, center. Turn the chin. 3, center. Turn the chin. 4 and center. And again, just tuning, it's like taking that photograph again, and what does it feel like? What is going on? And it might not be in the neck, it might be in your shoulders, it might be in your upper back. You might feel it even in the temple where the jaw is beginning to release a little. And this last time, I'm going to let you do it at your own pace. So just so you know, this first 4 corners just straight. 1, at your own pace. Second part, turn the chin and point to the corners. And when you finish, again, just noticing what's changing. Lovely. And so we are going to give the neck a little bit of a stretch now. And we're just going to let the chin drop back first. So we'll just start with this movement first, because this allows in the breastbone that we've been working on. You can see the connection here. That breastbone wants to sink in as we let the neck go back. So see if you can let that breastbone come forward, and don't just drop the head, but just put it down gently. You don't need to stretch it. You can just relax your jaw and your throat. You let the breath do the work. And when you're ready to come out, let the movement start at the breastbone. So tuck that breastbone in as you roll the head forward. We're tucking that chin in now. And now that upper backbone that we had our hands on is now pushing backwards as the chin drops down. And on the out breath, you'll just feel that real sense of letting that head go. Again, when you're ready to move, let that movement come from the breastbone area first as you come up. And then we're going to turn, little twist for the neck. Okay, so we're looking, well, let's think about first moving the chin towards the shoulder. And then close your eyes and pretend to look further around. Relax your shoulder, your jaw. And then bring it back to the center. Lead with the chin towards the shoulder. And then you close your eyes and you pretend to look over the shoulder a little bit. And then we come back to the middle. And again, just notice, oh, how nice that feels. What I find is that after doing that, if you do a couple of little sort of mini circles, it does feel a little bit like you grease the top of your neck, which is quite nice. And it's so greasy sometimes that it's kind of hard to put the head on the top because it just wants to bloop, roll off. And that's quite a nice feeling. Okay, so let's bring this into, we're going to come to the floor, but not before we've done a little transition pose. So let's come up to hands and knees. We can do a couple of cat-cows here. So as before, we started the movement for our neck from the breastbone, but when you're working with the whole of the spine, we want it to start at the tail and like a wave, move up through the breastbone into the neck. Pushing with the hands, breathing in. Breathing out, let the tail start the movement. Again, like a wave, it comes up and then, oh, you push through that backbone and the head stretches at the end. Tail first, up the spine, breastbone forwards, head up. Tail first, upper backbone, backwards, head down, last. We can just start to feel a smoothness as you work. And I find it quite nice if you want to try this to do a little bit of this in down dog. So you've got yourself into a down dog that's comfortable enough that you can sort of gently move the spine. It won't move as much, but the neck likes it a lot. Now, once you've done a couple of those, you can just let the head dangle, even remembering that circle and the square, or even just doing a mini version of it here. One corner, two corner, 3, 4, turn the chin 1 corner, 2 corners, turn the chin 3 and 4, and then see what happens as you let the head go. Feeling the feet and the hands and the jaw and the face. Feet and hands and face. I feel safe. We can come then to a child pose, just to rest the head. Then, with any luck, it will feel quite heavy and released. Lovely. Good, so we're going to now move to the floor work. And as most of you know by now, when we get on the floor, we're not planning to get back up. So make sure that you have all your warm things within hand's reach so that you can just drag it over you and you don't have to get up in a little while. You're not going to be cold. So this little routine, for those of you that do yoga with me regularly, you know it pretty well. And it's a lovely routine to finish with. And I think the body quite likes to have familiarity. And although the moves are familiar, how the body responds to them is different every time, because we've done different things throughout the class. So it's quite good to note that when you do it, that every time there's something new that's changed. So we're going to start off with the feet on the floor in a bridge pose. And if you're a little bit like me, when I first started doing reflex work, I noticed that I often lose sight of my feet and I forget where they are. So a little bit of tiptoes and heels here as you're lying down in your bridge pose is a really good idea. You know, and then you can just bring the feet on the floor and almost immediately like, okay, yep, there are my feet again. So here I am lying down. I might go sideways actually so you can see better. And we can feel the feet on the floor. And we're going to start with that tail. So just as before, when we were curling and uncurling and using the beginning point of the tail. So that tail is going to start to wag a little bit. And this is quite nice to do. So a little bit of in between your legs and then wagging the tail down into the floorboards or whatever floor you've got there. Tail and into the floorboard just a couple of times. And you can feel that as you do that, the rest of the spine is responding. The neck is doing something. The upper back, where we've been working today quite heavily, is also responding. So then bring your spine to a place where it feels neutral. Feel the feet on the floor, and as you push through the feet, just keep that sense of neutrality so that the spine is just floppy. And the work is all coming from the feet pushing into the ground and from your thighs. And of course the chin will want to roll in to give you a nice big stretch in the back of the neck in your bridge pose. And just see how long you want to hold that for. As all the weight transfers into the shoulders and that neck gets a nice stretch, and we've got that memory of those lovely moves that we just did. And just see how that is. And when you feel like your legs have a little bit fatigued, and that's where you want to feel the fatigue. You want to feel it in your legs, not in your lower back. If your lower back is getting fatigued, it's because you're using too many muscles there. Keep it neutral. You can just roll back down, and as you roll down, just try and see if you can feel each vertebra come onto the floor one by one. And then this time, Keeping that spine again in neutral, just have a little go with that tail wagging just for a moment to remind it. We're going to lift up and bring the arms with us. So as the legs push, the arms come up and over, the chin tucks in even more this time. We get more of a neck stretch as the weight can come more onto that area. The spine keeping as neutral as possible, the feet and the thighs working. I'm trying to relax the shoulders. Now when we roll down this time, we're going to leave the arms where they are and just work at trying to release this upper back place here where the diaphragm and the upper back meet can often be quite tense. So as you roll down, you find that place. Take a nice breath in. Think of that warm, lovely spleen rock that we did, or that twisting and turning, or that backwards and forwards with our hands in this area. And see if you can get it to release a little bit and then roll the rest of the spine down onto the floor. Relax the legs and shoulders and arms. Take a breath. And then we're going to, again, this is the last time, going to wag that tail, keep the spine in neutral, use the feet and the thighs, but this time as we come up, the arms are going to reach. It's like you've got a wall just a little bit too far away and you're trying to reach with your fingertips as the chin tucks in. A bit stronger stretch here for the neck. Really reaching as far as you can. Tucking that chin right in. And then as you come down, keep a slight sense of that reach. As you roll down the upper back, again you'll find slightly stronger, this sort of slightly tense bit there where we had our hand earlier. Use that photo, that memory, to see if you can get it to release and then roll the rest of the spine. As you come down, let the arms relax then. Work is done there. And take a breath. You'll bring the arms to the side. So we're going to do a floor twist next, but not just yet. We're just bringing the arms into position, allowing the shoulders to let go into the floor. Feeling that looseness in the neck. We might even want to give it a little bit of a neck roll, just to check. So this is like the bottom roll that we did earlier for the head. The head's nice and greased up, so it should find it too difficult. Relax your jaw. Again, another one of these moves that can be done for up to 2 minutes, but we've done quite a lot of rocking and all sorts today, so it might, the nervous system might not want too much. Feeling the shoulders relax, the arms relaxed. And then we're going to cross our legs. We're sitting on a chair. So last week's session, we had our foot on the knee. This week's session, we're just going to cross the legs. And all we're going to do is let that top leg, whichever leg's on top, fall towards the floor. And you might find that you can't get all the way there and you have to put your big toe down. And that's okay. But let the shoulder for now roll off the ground. See, I'm deliberately doing it here. We're letting it roll off the ground. That's okay, because what I'm going to do next, once my legs have relaxed, is try and put it back down by turning the head, the chin towards the shoulder, that move we did earlier. Closing the eyes and perhaps even pretending to look over the shoulder a little bit. If I want more of a stretch, I can always bring my hand to my knee. But don't go into a big, strong stretch until you've got that shoulder nicely dropping and relaxing. Breathe into that rib cage that's being expanded here up towards the ceiling, and then take the breath up into the shoulder joint. Again, that spleen rock that we did was so warming. This is one of those poses when you're really relaxed in it. It feels almost like you could just fall asleep. But time is ticking on, so we're going to swap sides. Or of course, if something is really going on there for you and something is releasing for the first time and you want to spend more time with it, then by all means, stay. Just remember you're crossing your legs when you do the other side. Letting the shoulder roll off as the legs go over. Turning the head towards the shoulder to let that shoulder drop down. Using the hand, if you wish. Looking over that shoulder with your eyes behind the eyelids. Trying to relax as much as you can. Thinking of that warmth in the center of the chest. Again, seeing how that feels. I can really feel all the digging I've been doing in that shoulder, so I'm just going to spend a little bit more time in there. That's what listening to your body is all about, just finding what you need, listening. But of course, if it's all too much already and you want to come out, we're just going to come back to the middle. Arms staying where they are just for a moment or two, just feeling that lovely sinking feeling in the shoulders as the arms are perfectly held up by the floor. That part in our upper back that we were pushing into is sinking into the ground with each and every out-breath. And of course, we know that when that happens, the chin wants to work its way down towards the breastbone, and the neck wants to elongate. Now, before we go fully into our relaxation, there's one more move to do, and that is our fish pose. And this is mainly for hormonal reasons, so it just helps with that extra dopamine, so always worth doing. Sitting on our hands, rolling the elbows in. I'm going to just slide out. Notice that I'm not lifting my head off the floor. It doesn't need to be that hard to get the dopamine effect. You just slide the head back, push into the elbows just ever so slightly. Again, it's as if we've got that invisible hand on our breastbone, and as you breathe in, you're allowing it to be pushed slightly forward. It's called fish because it's like a fish hook. Fisherman's pulling you up. And then when you're ready to come out of that, all you're going to do is roll the chin in, put back that upper back onto the floor, release the arms from underneath you. And you may feel that little chemical change in the body. And at this point, hopefully your blanket is within reach so that you can, without getting up is the best, just reach over and continue to just feel that lovely feeling. And so settling into relaxation is more of a state of mind than anything else, and the body is prepared. Mind is a bit quieter, the body is a bit quieter. And relaxation is different for everybody. You might find that you drift off. You might find that you fall asleep. You might find that you're wide awake and just fully aware of your body. All of these are Yoga Nidra. So take the pressure off And just allow whatever is now to be your relaxation. Notice the warmth in your breastbone. It's like a little fire that's been lit there today. And the flames, that warmth spread across the breastbone towards the shoulders, down the breastbone towards the belly button. But though flames are quite active, there is also the heart of this fire, deep inside the spine, like the coals, the embers, warming that upper back. And that warmth, a slightly different warmth, radiating out through the upper back into the shoulders, into the neck, and down the spine a little. And as you breathe, it's as if every breath we're slightly fanning this fire and spreading its warmth. So feel that as you breathe in. The flames across the breastbone and the shoulders and the throat and down towards the belly button. Those embers, that radiant heat in the spine spreading up into the shoulders, into the neck and down the spine. And it's as if one of those embers has sort of flown with your breath down into your lower back. And the fire here is new, it's not so big and radiant, but it lights. And you can feel some warmth of the flames beginning to spread through the internal organs of your pelvis. Warming the womb, warming the abdominal wall. The radiant embers deep in the lower back and nestled in the sacroiliac bones of the pelvis. Feeling those bones heated, that radiant heat spreading down through both hips. And the legs are like hollow chimneys, that warm air passing down through the spacious joints of the hips and the knees and the ankles and out through the toes. And the warmth in the chest is still growing with every breath. And you can feel that warmth spreading through the shoulders and the arms now, like that warm air passing through the spaciousness of the shoulder joints, the elbows, the wrists, and out through the fingers. And as you breathe, the breath traveling, another little ember seems to catch on that breath and land at the base of the skull, where the head and the neck meet. And another little fire is kindled there. Small at first, but spreading. The radiant heat through the skull bones at the back of the head, towards the crown, through the bones of the jaw, towards the chin, with the bones in the cheeks and around the eye sockets and forehead. And the flames skipping across the facial muscles so that they become slack and warm, face expressionless. And as you breathe, you can feel all three little centers of heat in the lower back spreading through the pelvis, down through the legs to the feet. And the upper back and chest spreading across the breastbone, shoulders, upper back, through the arms and hands and fingers, into the back of the neck, through the bones of the skull and the face, so that with one breath you can feel the entire body warm and releasing. And as you breathe out, having that sense that the floor is supporting you, holding you up. Breathing in, feeling that warmth throughout the whole body. And as you breathe out, letting go into the floor a little bit more. And sometimes perhaps being able to feel both that warmth and softness and the weight of the body at the same time. Breathing in, just feeling that warmth and softness throughout the whole body. And as you breathe out, just letting the weight of the body settle into the ground a little bit more. And sometimes perhaps being able to feel both of them at the same time. And if your mind is busy, just keep bringing it back to your body. Releasing into the ground. Feeling the softness. All I know is love, and I find my heart infinite. I find my heart infinite and everywhere. All I know is love, and I find my heart infinite. I find my heart infinite and everywhere. And all I know is love. All I know is love, and all I know is love. All I know is love, and all I know is love, and I find my heart infinite. I find my heart infinite and everywhere. All I know is love, and I find my heart infinite. I find my heart infinite and everywhere. And all I know is love. All I know is love, and all I know is love. All I know is love, and all I know is love, and I find my heart infinite. I find my heart infinite and everywhere. All I know is love, and I find my heart infinite. I find my heart infinite and everywhere. So just taking a nice deep breath in that nice heart open space and warmth where we've been working today. When you feel ready to begin moving, just a wiggle of the fingertips and toes and bring yourself around, and maybe a little stretch if you feel so inclined. Rolling onto your side if you feel like you need a little bit of time to come round. Just stay on your side for a few moments. Just allow yourself to got all the time in the world to know where to go. Like, this is one of the few yoga sessions where you can just stay there all night, get into bed. I'm just going to unmute you all. Just check that you're all okay.
Nice jumper.
Thank you. This is one of my oldest jumpers. I think I've had it like 20 years or something.
Very nice. Such a great colour. Thank you so much, Veronika.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you,
Well,
Thank you, Veronika.
thank you.
Where have you gone? You froze. Frozen.
Oh no, she's frozen just at the last minute. Well, it was a good job it happened then.
I wonder why.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Izzy.
Neil.
Hi, Izzy.
That was lovely.
It was really nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Come on, Ron. What's happened to you?
Sleep now. Oh no, she's gone.
Maybe she just needs to refresh.
Let me just show you very quickly what I just made then, whilst you were doing that.
She's probably going to send back in.
In my class tomorrow, because I was doing yoga and
Oh, wow.
so we've got vestibular,
That's great.
interoception. Have a look, okay? Yeah.
Very good.
Lovely.
Is she back? Hi, Deborah. How are you?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
just putting those down. Yeah. Okay.
It's lovely to do a class like this because there's nothing like this where I am. This is probably my first reflex yoga class since I did the training, which was ages ago. So it's lovely to be able to do this.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Leeds, but I did the training with Nicole,
Something like that, yeah, 2 years ago.
yeah.
I think 2 years ago.
I work with kids with additional needs and teach yoga because generally and kids with additional needs. I did the training, but it was lovely to just be reminded of how it all works. And I'm watching your little videos on Facebook as well, just to see. Yeah, because it's hard when you're not with it.
I've like entered the world of kind of, you know, virtual internet yoga. It's really weird. Isis.
It is very weird.
Bye.
It's nice to see.